So I stumbled upon this post right here from Bradley Osborne, who put a thread out of 6 reasons as to why the MCU is dying. And I actually found this to be quite interesting. So I kind of want to go through it, give my perspective, and just kind of hear other people's perspective in the comments below. Because I do think that all of us have our own opinion, you know. Some people might like She-Hulk, some people might like Agatha all along, and people like me just absolutely despise it. You know, some people will say that all of those shows are awesome, they love rewatching them, which I think is awesome for those people enjoying it. It's just not something that's for me personally worth watching. So it's an interesting thing where the MCU is in a state where there seems to be very torn between people absolutely loving something and truly, and I mean truly despising something, which is, I think, is an interesting state. I have a lot of different perspectives on the entire world of the MCU and all that sort of stuff, man. Like, for example, this new Fantastic Four movie, I really enjoyed it, man. I've really genuinely enjoyed that movie, man. I'm not sitting here saying it's a 10 out of 10, because it wasn't a 10 out of 10, but I really enjoyed it, man. Me and my girlfriend had a great time in the theater, so I think without further ado, let's just jump into it. This is going to be a lot of yapping, uncut. Let's just have some fun and just kind of see where this takes us, man. So let's just start from number one right here, which obviously, why would we not, right? Too much content. This right here is all that is actually, in theory, needed to be said. There is way too much content. For me personally, and this is just my personal opinion, I wish we never ever had a single thing on Disney Plus. Ever. I would have loved to have never had any of those TV shows or anything like that. I do not need them. I personally don't really care for them. Do I watch them? Yeah. So it's like, it's a weird thing where, like, it's hypocritical of me to say, because I actually do watch them, but also I don't really enjoy them for some reason. I just love the MCU so much, especially due to like the first few phases, that there's something in me that just can't stop watching, even though I'm not enjoying it anymore. And I think one of the big reasons is just that these shows have absolutely zero rewatch value, where I feel like a lot of the movies has a lot of rewatch value. Like, I can watch Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, Captain America, basically you name it. All of those movies I can rewatch until the earth is gone, bro. Like, those movies are so freaking phenomenal, right? But the shows have none of that whatsoever. So yeah, too much content, I could not agree with more. I think that is an absolutely perfect statement. Now, Marvel has said they want to dial it back. Sure, we'll see how that goes. That seems to be kind of a statement that changes day by day, in my opinion. But we got number two right here. No core characters. If I were to ask you, okay, who is the Avengers? You'll be like, well, we've just been told that it is the Fantastic Four, it is now the Thunderbolt, and it is now the crew of Captain America. Basically, yeah. How is Thor fitting into that? How is Doctor Strange fitting into that? Is Spider-Man fitting into that whatsoever now that he's getting his own movie and probably not appearing in Doomsday? Probably not. Who the hell knows? We don't really know yet. Where is all of this going? Who are the Avengers? Are they even going to be called the Avengers anymore? Like, what is really going on? I don't think any of us truly know, and I know for a fact Marvel does not fucking know at all, man. Which is such a horrible state to be in, I feel like. Now, yeah, you can always make the argument, well, they've kind of told us this, that, and the other, like I just said before. That argument isn't really going to work for me personally. So, no core characters, I feel, is absolutely freaking awesome. We just had a bunch of new movies like Captain America 4. He's probably not going to get a trilogy because that movie flopped insanely. Thunderbolts, that movie also flopped. It definitely didn't break even. So, don't think we're going to get another one. Fantastic Four, very rough second week right here, which I really find unfortunate. I really do find it unfortunate that this second week right here, they took a massive hit. They took a massive hit of like 80% less tickets sold. Really unfortunate, man. Is that going to get a trilogy then? Well, if the movie flops, it probably won't, right? So where are we standing right now? Who is going to be the next trilogy to watch out for? Doctor Strange is probably going to complete his trilogy, sure. I don't know, though. I don't know, because Multiverse of Madness is some people absolutely love it, some people absolutely hate it. I feel like Marvel is probably going to do a trilogy. The next trilogy is going to be Spider-Man. That's kind of, you know what, bro? Spider-Man will be the next trilogy, but that's obvious. It's fucking Spider-Man, bro. I don't care if every single movie Marvel has put out was a 1 out of 10, I'd still go to watch Spider-Man because it's Spider-Man. So I feel like that doesn't really count. Now, lack of focus is the third statement right here, which I think is really well put. It actually is really well put, but it kind of, I would say, very much so connects with these core characters. There is no core characters because there is no lack of focus on those specific characters expanding out and all that sort of stuff. So I feel like they kind of go hand in hand in some sort of way. Marvel has no plan, right? Who was the villain? It was Kang. Now it's Doctor Doom. What has happened to Kang? Who knows? Now they're saying they might actually bring Jonathan Majors back. Maybe. But they also have Doom now. And, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, if you haven't watched Fantastic Four, which a lot of people haven't, man. I don't know. Can I spoil? I'll spoil, bro. End credit scene. Who pops up? Who pops up? Yeah. You know, right? Keeping it vague, but it's pretty fucking obvious. It's been all over the internet who pops up, right? That's the first time we see the man. Okay, it's Doctor Doom. The first time we see him, who's going to be the main villain in Doomsday, which we've only seen him for 3 seconds until he becomes the main villain in this massive New Adventures movie. No teasing, no this, that, and the other, just pops into that movie right away, basically, right? I haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, so I don't know if there's an end credit scene related to anything of that. That's the only Marvel movie that I haven't seen yet, which I'm waiting for Disney Plus for it to come out, right? That's literally the only Marvel movie that I have not seen at this point, man. I don't know. I just somehow, someway did not end up going to watch that, which I usually go watch most of the Marvel movies, man. But yeah, lack of focus, I think, is a massive one. It's kind of like me, bro. I have a lack of focus as well, man. I'm all over, and you can see it by a video like this right here, right? But there is definitely a massive, massive lack of focus where we really need to get back to having a handful of characters. I think having a group like Fantastic Four is a great idea, but then we need to have just a few core characters like Thor, like Doctor Strange, like Iron Man back in the day and stuff like that, where we really focus on those guys, and then there's a few people around that kind of pops up, like a Hawkeye and stuff like that, who adds so much to it, but doesn't necessarily need to have his own thing. He just adds a lot of value when he does come in and appears in Thor, Adventures, or wherever it might be, right? Like a great freaking character that we would all love to have seen a movie back in the day, but also it was awesome for him to just be in whatever he was in because we still loved the character, even though he didn't have his own movie, which is kind of crazy, right? So, lack of focus, absolutely, man. Nostalgia baiting. Well, Doomsday is probably going to be the biggest nostalgia baiting that you'll ever see in your entire life. You're probably going to sit there and say, what, they're pulling Wolverine? Yeah, sure. If I ask my girlfriend about Blade, Elektra, and everything like that, like, she'd be like, why the fuck is Channing Tatum there? See, well, that was literally her, like, when we got out of the theater watching that movie, she's like, and I had to explain to her he was supposed to have a movie back in the day, it didn't work, all that sort of stuff, he's connected to the X-Men, this, that, and the other, and she's gonna be like, okay, I didn't fucking know that. I didn't know that either until the movie came out, right? So, yeah, nostalgia baiting, I think, can work. No Way Home worked phenomenally. I think that movie is fucking world class. I really, really like that movie. Personally, for me, this is, I don't know if it's a controversial statement or whatsoever at this point right now. Everything that you say about Marvel is kind of like a controversial statement because there's so many crybabies all over the internet, but I really like Deadpool and Wolverine. I enjoy it for what it is. Do I think the movie has a pretty bad villain? Yes. Do I think the story could have been much, much better? Abso-fucking-lutely. Do I like watching the movie and have I watched it a good amount of times already? Yes. I don't necessarily need every single movie to be a 10 out of 10 for me to enjoy it, man. I really genuinely don't. So, nostalgia baiting can work, but it also needs to be done the proper way. Let's see how they handle it in Doomsday. I really don't fucking know, man. Okay, theater prices. This is not actually Marvel's fault. I appreciate that he's saying that because that is the truth. Marvel has nothing to do with the ticket prices. Well, are the ticket prices much, much higher because all of these movies' budgets have ballooned out of the fucking sky? Like, all of them has to do like 2, 3, 400 fucking million dollars, like Mission Impossible had $400 million, right? Could that be a reasoning why the prices has gone up, because all of these massive movies have these ginormous budgets? You be the judge of that. I know what my opinion is on that, but who the hell knows? Everything has risen in price. Like, you can't even go to the store to get anything even remotely close to where it was just a few years ago, because prices are ridiculous now. They are absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, that's kind of up in the air, but that definitely is gonna hurt them. But the biggest thing is just streaming. I think, for me personally, I don't think it's that bad. The ticket prices, it's not really an issue. I think, like, I don't think it's too expensive. That's just my opinion. But then again, I understand that a lot of people live on very harsh budgets and would have liked the movies to be cheaper. If the movie were cheaper, I would go more often. And that's the perfect statement right there. That's the reasoning why a lot of people don't go, because it is still expensive. Even though I'm not necessarily one of those ones that feel like it's ridiculous, I kind of get people's points. So yeah, I suppose it makes sense. And then the last one is streaming, which I think streaming has probably fucked everything. Do I love streaming personally for me? Yes, because now I have access to endless movies. Literally, I have access to endless freaking movies. So as a consumer, sure, it's good for me. But for all of these companies that does these movies, it is absolutely horrible. And in the end, as a consumer, this is gonna hurt me, because there will be a point where theaters aren't gonna survive. They just aren't. That is just gonna be the thing, bro. A lot of movies are probably going to end up just being streaming movies, and then when you have a massive movie like an Avengers, and you have a massive movie like this, that, and the other, that will probably hit theaters, but it will be like you kind of have to drive a little bit to even reach a theater nearby, because they just aren't going to be able to survive unless something drastically changes. And something could very drastically change. I don't know. I think that the issue is that movies aren't worth paying for anymore. Do I, like, if you were to ask me, like I said, I've really enjoyed Fantastic Four. If I knew exactly how I felt about the movie after watching it, would I kind of have preferred saving my money and just watched it on streaming? Yes, I literally have a year and a half until Doomsday comes out, so I don't need to go to the theater. If Fantastic Four was released 3 months before Doomsday, and there was no way it was going to end up being on Disney Plus, maybe I would probably more than likely feel like I'd have to go to kind of like get myself in to the spot of like where Doomsday is going to lead. But now that I have a year and a half, do I regret it? In a sense, yeah, because it was just kind of a waste of money, man. Like, I could have just waited a few months and it would be out on streaming, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that is the issue, right? Where I can just wait. There's nothing really special about these Marvel movies nowadays. I'm not really losing out on anything, right? Like I said, I haven't even watched Thunderbolts yet, and I know no spoilers. I don't know any spoilers about that movie because, well, as long as you don't check Twitter every other second, you're not going to get any spoilers because nobody really talks about them anymore. The only thing about Fantastic Four was the end credit scene with Doomsday, or with Doctor Doom. That spoiler. Like, that's the only thing that I've really seen people yap about, and then a little bit about Galactus, but, you know, it's really, that is it, man. You don't really miss out on anything. You don't need to be in that theater to watch it. Like, with Deadpool and Wolverine, I needed to be there, because, and with Spider-Man No Way Home, I needed to be there, because I didn't want to have all of this shit spoiled, because I knew if I didn't go the first day, I was gonna have it all spoiled because everybody was gonna be talking about it because it was a massive event, and that's why those movies are as massive as they are. So there is no incentive to go to the theater anymore. I don't need to. So that's what the issue is, man. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what Doomsday is going to do. Because if Doomsday does not do $1 billion at the box office, I don't know what the world is going to look like in terms of Marvel anymore. If that movie does not do massive numbers, we're in for a world of madness, man. Like, Endgame fucking did, was it 1.5 billion the first week or something like that? Like, those numbers were outrageous. It was somewhere in that realm where it is unlike anything we're ever gonna see again of what Endgame did in terms of numbers, man. It is something that, like, in theory, if Marvel had kept up all of this gloriness and this beauty of this world, I think a Doomsday could easily break 3 billion. But now I don't know if it's gonna break 1 billion anymore. If I were a betting man, I'd say it breaks 1 billion. I'd definitely say it breaks 1 billion. I don't think it breaks 2 billion, but it breaks 1 billion, man. I do believe that, in my honest opinion, but I could be definitely wrong, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong, but damn, this video turning crazy, man. There is so much to say about the Marvel Universe. I'm very sad that we are at this point where I even need to make a video about this. I would love to sit here and just make a movie or a video literally just glazing the shit out of Marvel, being like, everything is so fucking good, bro. I love this, man. Like this, that, and the other. It's just so perfect. It's so awesome. They can do no wrong. Because there was a time where it was so close that they almost couldn't do no wrong. But then everything just became wrong. Sure, they had a few issues, but that's alright. Nothing needs to be perfect. But now, it's just so far from perfect as it almost humanly possibly can be. So what Marvel is gonna do at this point, I really don't know. I think they expected Fantastic Four to do well, which it has not, unfortunately. Spider-Man will do great, but it has nothing to do with Marvel. It's Sony that takes all of that money, basically. So Doomsday is going to be the nail in the coffin, man. It is really going to be the nail in the coffin, man. And I can't wait to see how that performs. I can't wait to watch the movie. I'm very excited to watch that movie. But I don't know if it's going to be any good. I really don't know if it's going to be any good or not, man. But I don't know what this video was. I just yapped. I had myself a great time. Hope you have yourselves an absolutely great day. And if you want to see more random videos like this, if I find any interesting posts on the internet, I might just yap about them a little bit. But other than that, have yourselves a great freaking day. And here's to Marvel being great in the future. Because that is all I want. I want Marvel to be great. I know you want Marvel to be great. Otherwise, you wouldn't care to watch a freaking 18-minute video about it. Because we all care, and we want it to be great, man. And that's all that's needed to be said. So hopefully that happens.